Good morning. This is the Friday, November 8th, regular meeting of Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Let's rise for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Commissioner Hung?
Here.
We have a quorum. Today, the first presentation is by the Educational Service Center, Real World Student Experiences, Career in Government. Dave Miller and Armbruster, right?
Will they switch to the slideshow?
They will.
There you go. Microphone's over
Microphone,
there.
please. And we have a camera on you.
Okay, sounds good. My name is Dave Miller. I'm with the Educational Service Center of Lorain County, and we're just taking a couple minutes here today. You want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, my name is Lee Armbruster. I'm with North Bridgeville City Schools. Dave and I have been working on this together for our students in the county.
So we're going to share just a little bit about what we think is a really exciting event for kids in high school that's coming up here in about just less than 2 weeks. We're calling it Real World Student Experiences, Careers in Government. A little bit of contact information about myself and Lee. And although I'm with the Educational Service Center, I represent the Lorain County Business Advisory Council. That usually doesn't tell people anything about what we do. So just to give you an idea of our goals, 3 things: we're really trying to establish connections between our schools and local businesses. We represent all 15 school districts, the Business Advisory Council does, across Lorain County. At the core, we're just trying to give kids experiences so they can figure out what they want to do and be direct in their approach as they pursue whatever they're going to pursue after high school. And then longer term, we're really trying to develop professional skills for future careers. Lee, you want to talk about that?
So as we prepare students for the future, it's been pretty clear that colleges and military have full-time recruiters, but all the other industries don't have recruiters for our students. They set up tables in our high schools. They really work on getting our students to go to college or go into the military. But there is not that robust recruitment process for all the other industries and all the other pathways for our students. So we're trying to help our students understand the multitude of career and workforce opportunities within the county, within the state, for them. So these opportunities are critical for our students to go out and see what's out there, and that's how we're partnering with the county, and we really appreciate the support of all the departments that we've already gotten, and we're looking forward to working with them.
Just to share a couple things we're doing in addition to what we're going to share with you. Last year we took a group of educators to LCC, and we're always interested in exploring those in-demand careers that are going to be great careers for kids. So in the picture here you see these are actually educators learning about careers in the semiconductor industry, and they're suited up to learn about what it would be like to work in that industry, so they can communicate that information to our students in our high schools if that would be a good fit for them. This is another initiative we did last year in the summer. We had 39 teachers from across Lorain County, and they visited 10 businesses, and quite simply the goal is to just give our educators experience out in business and industry so they can better advise and help our kids get those real-world experiences. So that was, I think, a great experience. We had a lot of fun. You can see the team on the left there. It's kind of small for the TV for some of you, but those were our Career Crusaders, and the team on the right were our Job Journey Jedis. And most of the 5 days they spent was just really talking with business and trying to get a feel for how the world is changing, how the business needs change, and how we can best prepare our kids to go into these new fields and new careers. We're doing things for kids too, so we take students once a month to the Cleveland Clinic Avon Hospital. They do a 4-hour tour, and on the left side you can see students are learning about a position called a surgical tech, which is a great position with a 2-year degree. It's these kinds of hands-on experiences that give kids really the information they need to make good informed decisions. On the right, we did an event last year called Manufacturing Math Masters, and kids visited a manufacturer and learned about, what are some of the job responsibilities there and why might I be interested in a career there. That kind of brings us full circle to what our new pilot is this year, and we're so excited to work with our county departments across Lorain County. So this is actually on our website. Anyone's welcome to take a peek at this at Lorain County BAC for businessadvisorycouncil.org. And I just did a screenshot of the first experience. So we'll have 5 kids that will go to the 911 department and another 5 kids that will go to the sheriff's department. They'll spend a little under an hour there and be engaged in some activities. These will be kids from one of our 15 school districts in Lorain County, from a high school. And they're interested, these students are interested in either pursuing a career in law enforcement or learning more about what takes place at the 911. So the goal is, when they're done with that experience, it helps them either decide they want to pursue a career at that facility in that career field, or maybe they don't like it, and that's okay too. So it's just as important to know what you don't want to do as it is for what you think you might want to do. These are the 5 experiences. You can see our messy map there with the path that's going to take place. The other experiences are, we will have students go to the forensics lab in this building. They'll do some hands-on things and learn about what takes place there. They'll also circle over to the solid waste management department and learn about what items are recyclable across the county. And having gone through that, pretty cool. You can take your vehicle through there, and maybe more of our students will realize what is recyclable and the importance of that. Our third one is project management and public works, and we're working with the engineer's office. They'll learn about those different positions and the importance of all the things that they do within that. Our fourth one is sustainability and leadership. Again, we'll visit the public waste, solid waste management, but with this one, the students are going to actually do a mock commissioners meeting. So the students will be given the instructions and sort of a script, and they'll go through a mock commissioners meeting, and there'll be some students that'll even be the public people that will ask questions or do mini presentations. So super excited to have our students do that. The last one is the Wheels of Justice, behind the scenes at the Court of Common Pleas, and those students will learn all about those careers over at the Court of Common Pleas.
So our goal with this project is to continue on. Again, we really appreciate the support of the departments, and we know it's a lot for your people to take time with our students. But if they can't see it, they can't be it, and they need to know these opportunities. So we're hoping to continue on with this. This is our pilot. Maybe internships, possibly new employees for you. Some of these kids will be seniors graduating. So the possibilities are limitless, and we hope that we can continue to partner with the county in the future for our students, so they'll stay in Lorain County and work in Lorain County.
Yeah, any questions?
Commissioners? So this is the same body of students, they will visit each one of these facilities?
So we want this to be hands-on. When we designed this, we could bring 200 kids and it could be sit and get, but it's smaller groups of kids. So if you're a group of 5, those 5 kids I mentioned first would go to 911. Then those 5 same kids will go to the sheriff's department. Another group of 5 kids will go to the forensics lab.
Okay.
The largest group we have is actually 15, and that's intentional. We love to impact more students, but we want to make sure that it's a quality experience for them.
Good, good. We support it. These are future taxpayers because we're going to keep them home, right? Very good.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Teresa, at this point, we've been asked to postpone the second presentation till at least 10 o'clock or so. So if we want to run through the next couple of items.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. B, number 1, investments.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Dell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 2, appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
If folks that are watching will notice that this is some housekeeping, getting close to the end of the year, so there's some transfers taking place to accomplish the goals of the year. Teresa?
Casey, did you want to go over quickly the award from the Visitors Bureau for the Black River Landing? 450.
Oh, sure. I think this will come up again during the requisitions. In fact, maybe we'll postpone that
wait
until
till then?
the
Okay.
requisitions come up. But yeah, this is putting the money in place to accomplish what we'll see on the requisitions here, on one of the next issues here.
Anything further? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Dell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 3, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Dell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 4, advances and repayments.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Dell?
Aye.
Number 5, requisitions.
Okay, we have 5 pages today in the general fund. It's page 1. Victor, could we have page 2? Page 3. Page 4. And lastly, page 5. Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
I think
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot.
Yes.
So I just one thing to note back on page 1 on the airports, you'll notice a few requisitions there for Manic. So it's not a new project. It's a project at the airport that's already existing. The previous company was Richland / Wallace Pancher. They've and they have new company name. So for bookkeeping purposes, we have to pass these new purchase orders under the new vendor name. So it's not a new project. It's not new money. It's money you guys have already committed, but now we're just committing it to the new entity, which is Manic, as opposed to Richland. And then the other thing was on page 5 under the Visitors Bureau. It goes 1863. At the request of Director Gibbs, he's requesting that we pull that one for Odyssey at this point. He's not ready for that one to go to be approved yet. So you'll see that one again on a future board, but he'd asked that we would pull that one for today.
Okay.
Casey, did you want to explain how one went with the other?
Sure. So yeah, we can circle back to let's see, which one is that? That's 1859, and I'm sure Commissioner Moore may piggyback on this as well. But the Visitors Bureau had the Lorain County, or sorry, the Lorain City Port Authority out to make a presentation in regards to the Black River Landing, and
I'll help
again,
you
I
out.
don't want
Let
to
me
step
help
on
you
your. I don't want to step on your toe. This is your baby. So I
I've
don't step-
purposely been watching them struggle, so I was,
Trying to get out good news here.
I purposely watched them struggle, so it was.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, it's Friday. What happened was the Visitors Bureau does receive 3.5% bed tax. As the president of the board for the Visitors Bureau, we had a discussion in regards to how much money we receive. We usually get about $750,000 to $850,000 a year. Gary gets upset when I'm about to tell you, but we got about 2.8 million roughly, right, Casey, sitting in the account. And our goal has been to promote the county, and Gary has done an excellent job with the eclipse. We saw an increase in our bed tax revenue because of all the marketing that we did in Cleveland and surrounding areas to have people come to Lorain County as we were the center line. And so our revenues is quite up, and the year before, we were spending about 300,000 and taking in 8. That's why we have excess funds. So we decided as a board, and we have a very good working board there, to start promoting our county in several different ways. One of them being in regards to the sponsorship of the Lorain County Fair, which is brings in a lot of people, but also what brings in a lot of people is the Lorain County Port, or Lorain City Port, with the Black River Landing. They came down and did a presentation, and we decided to sponsor the stage as a board, and that's what this money for $350,000 is. The Lorain Port Authority did do a press release, and I believe the Chronicle and Journal both did stories in regards to that sponsorship. There's a lot more sponsorship, though, to be had in regards to the development of the Black River Landing area. So we've been doing a good job on the Visitors Bureau promoting events such as Monday, come on out Amherst at 11 o'clock for Memorial Day, or Veterans Day, sorry. And been a long week. Anyway, so we had that will be going on. We're sponsoring the Jumbotron. It's going to be there. One year in Amherst, Greenwood, the singer, actually was in Sandusky for a concert, heard about it, and came out and visited Amherst, saw the mural that's out there, and actually the following year came out and sang and gave an interview and talked to everybody through this Jumbotron. So what we're doing is things like that. There's other events that are going out through our Main Street programs. The Visitors Bureau is totally engaged with as many communities as we can in order to promote Lorain County to the outside world, and that's what we've been doing. And this is just another part of the bed tax in which people who come to visit Lorain County, we get to use to help continue to promote Lorain County. So this is one of many things that you can see. A lot of it's advertising. And to give you some ideas on item number 1864, this is kind of a big deal. This individual, we're working with this company in order to what the Lorain Port Authority is working on. And when I talk about this board doing partnerships, one of these partnerships is we see what they're doing. When they go to Black River Landing, they know exactly what, this is the beauty of Big Brother, but when you have your cell phone on you, they kind of know where you're going to have lunch, they know where you're having dinner at our events. This type of technology is there. You wouldn't believe it, but in Lorain County on Friday night, you would think the downtown businesses would be benefiting, but it's the steakhouse out by the mall. That's the one that's benefiting the most on Friday night when we have our concert series. It's from people that are coming from within 50 miles away or coming to downtown Lorain, and it's pretty amazing. I think they said, I can't remember that, was it 30% of the people are from the city, the rest comes from outside the area. So that's the technology that's out there, and the Visitors Bureau is now in the process of doing the same thing for Lorain County, so we can capture data, and then you promote our community, our county. So when people are coming to our community and we see that we have an event, let's say in Wellington, or even the county fair, or maybe a Main Street Christmas event, which we do have a huge event coming out in Avon soon at the Crusher Stadium, we'll be able to gather that data and then start continually to promote Lorain County throughout the Midwest as people are driving through and coming through. So I'm excited with what's going on. Thanks for giving me that softball to talk about it. And yeah, I figured that'd be a little bit more than what Casey wanted to say, right? So that's what the $350,000 for. It's a sponsorship to help the Port Authority continue to develop the area. They got a lot of private partnerships. It's private, public. It's a great, and then this board actually worked with the city with ARPA funds to work on it. So a lot of people are involved, and this is just Lorain County Visitors Bureau stepping up. So. Okay, going to keep going? I can keep going.
Do you have any other items you wish to discuss, Commissioner?
Well, that was Michelle. That's one that I
Right. Flipped it to you, passed it off to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought,
There are two other items that I would like to discuss, 1846 and 1847. And I had conversation with the With our budget director, Casey, and the county is obligated to process payment for these things, but we've done a little bit of checking in the sheriff's account for professional services does not have enough balance to process those two payments, so I'd like to be amending the motion to approve those until, to allow time for the sheriff to determine or work with Casey to move the money into the proper account so those can be paid.
Would you want to do the same thing Gary did on 1863 and just hold it, or do you want to?
We could just hold it, if that makes it cleaner.
I don't know, I'm asking, what do you think? Everyone's
Just
doing
hold.
that.
Well, Teresa,
Hold.
Teresa
Okay, so
probably.
we'll just put it on
It has the same net effect.
Okay.
So far, 1863, 1846, and 1847. are
Correct.
Just on hold, okay.
Do we have to amend do we have to amend our motions to say that, or no?
No.
Okay.
So that's correct, we can go ahead and take the vote and close?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
You can.
Is there anything further from the board on any of them?
Nope, just
Those
those
are
three
the
items.
ones, yeah.
Okay. So Commissioner Riddell,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye, with the noted exceptions on the 3 holds.
and Commissioner Hung.
I will be a yes. Mine's gonna be a little more difficult, Teresa. I will be a yes with the noted exceptions from my colleagues. And I will be an abstain on 1808, as I always have been, on that particular law firm. And 1838 will be a no.
Okay. Number 6, travel.
Move to approve.
Second,
Discussion. Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung,
yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 7, bills.
What, 5 pages?
Yes. And page 2, Victor? Okay. Okay. Page 3. And page 4. And page 5.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to make the note, it was caught earlier in preparation for today, but we have 2 bills that are exactly the same monetary number for Greensfelder LLP. Those are for 2 different items, 2 different legal services, so they just happen to work out to be the same number. We just want everybody to, don't want anybody to think that they're being double paid.
Is there anything further?
Nope.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell,
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
I will be a yes with a no on the 2 Greensfelder bills.
Number 8. Are we going in executive session?
Yes.
Okay. So county commissioners may recess an executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, along with any other matters as specifically identified by motion in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G 1 through 8, unless expressly stated otherwise during executive session. Matters discussed in executive session are designated by the county commissioners as confidential. Because of the confidentiality of such matters is necessary for the proper conduct of government business, any disclosure outside of executive session is prohibited by Ohio Revised Code 102.03B. While in executive session, the county commissioners may discuss and deliberate on the matters at issue, but no votes may be taken until open session resumes.
Okay, and we have public comment on agenda items. I assume we still need a little bit of time before we get on to the second presentation, so we may be a little bit after 10 because it's going to take us a couple of minutes to resolve this. Okay, we have 3 slips turned in for public comment on the agenda item. Ron Clark?
John.
No, there's a Daniel Clark? Yes. Would you like to go first? Sure. Okay, please come to the microphone. You have 2 minutes. You don't have to use it all.
Got your big.
State your name and address.
So,
You have
good
to
morning, Commissioners. My name is Daniel Clark. I am the 3rd-generation resident of Pittsfield Township. My grandparents moved to Pittsfield in the 1920s. They left the city to start a farm where their children could walk to school and where they could build a life connected to the land. They fought hard to keep this farm through the Depression and other challenges. And my grandmother gave me a mission to protect this land, ensuring it passes down through the generations so our family will always have a place to put a plow in the soil and watch life grow. Today I stand here to fulfill that mission, asking you to delay Oberlin's annexation request. Oberlin is pushing forward with plans to industrialize and commercialize our peaceful rural community. Plans that they're describing as agreeable without once sitting down with their neighbors to discuss their intent. This feels in many ways like an invasion. A city expanding into our township, seeing it not as a community, but as an untapped opportunity for its own benefit. This isn't progress, it's an unsolicited land grab under the banner of development. I want to be clear, we are not against growth or opportunity, but we are against one-sided expansion where our voices are silenced. Oberlin has not been fully transparent, nor have they given us the chance to consider and discuss the long-term impact that their plans will bring on our community. Pittsfield is a community of families, farmland, and open spaces, and we have every right to protect it. This land is part of who we are. Generations from now, people will not ask why we didn't bring in more factories. They'll ask why we didn't protect the fields that feed us, the land that nurtures us, and our families and the open spaces that bring us peace. So I ask you, Commissioners, to delay the vote on this annexation, giving Pittsfield the chance to come to the table with Oberlin. Let us work towards a solution that honors our community, respects our land, and allows both sides to move forward in a way that benefits everyone. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Excuse me, Commissioner, his address is on there,
yeah,
correct?
it's on there,
Okay,
yeah.
just want to make sure.
What's that?
No, this is when people come up, you need your name and address for
Oh.
Teresa to write it down. No, we got it up here. You filled it out, so.
You did well without coaching. Okay, Andrew Lake?
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Lake. I live on Merriam Road in Pittsfield Township. I was recently appointed township trustee. I am here to represent the citizens of Pittsfield. Recently, as you know, we had 2 of our trustees resign, and then my appointment followed that up with also Mark Diedrich to backfill those empty vacancies. During that time is when much of the goings-on of the Oberlin annexation application for Pittsfield Township ground happened. And by virtue of the situation, it created a kind of unique circumstance where Pittsfield had functionally no representation in some of those proceedings. Because of that sort of unique circumstance, I would like to request a 90-day postponement of the decision to approve that annexation, to give myself and my fellow trustees time to apprise ourselves of all of the ins and outs of those goings-on, sit down with Oberlin, and come up with a plan of action that honors the annexation agreement that exists between the Township of Pittsfield and Oberlin City, and also to disseminate that information to the residents so that they have an idea of what's going on and they are up to speed on the plans moving forward so that we can all approach it having knowledge. Knowledge is power, and knowing knowing what we're getting ourselves into, as it were. From what I've gathered from conversations, Pittsfield as a whole is not in favor or support of this annexation, but I believe that mostly to be because nobody knows what's going on. So again, we would just, the primary request is time to wrap our brains around what is going on. We want our voices heard, we want proper representation in the process, and we want our community to be protected, as Mr. Clark mentioned earlier. I have had some conversation with the city of Oberlin, perfectly willing to sit down with them and, again, come up with a plan that is mutually beneficial. I believe I've read through most of the annexation agreement. There's a lot of language and verbiage in there about mutual benefit and working together. And I'm 100% in support of that. I just want to make sure that that is actually how all of this proceeds. I would invite Oberlin's officials, whoever needs to be there to represent them, to come to our township meeting so they can hear from Pittsfield Township residents directly, so they can hear their concerns, they can talk to people who live there and understand their point of view. These are families that are multi-generational. My grandfather is here, his family's been in Pittsfield for a really long time. And I would like his great-grandkids, my children, his great-grandkids, and their kids to continue to live in Pittsfield as they've known it for all these years. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I do want to just recognize that Dan was Assistant County Prosecutor. He was advising us as the process went along to appoint the two new trustees. And what was the date you were appointed, sir? Dan, do you remember?
First of all, this board had nothing to do with appointing the trustees.
No, it was Walter,
Yeah,
but you
the-
were keeping us kind of up to
Yeah.
date.
It's been a month maybe.
I remember it came in
I want
front
to
of
say
us.
5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been in front of you at all, the way the statute works.
Well, what
I
came in front-
told
something
you,
came through.
well, lots of things come through. There might have been something for Pittsfield, but I probably told you what happened, so we knew what was going on. But the way the statute works is, if there's one resignation, the board, and he knows, the board works, but since there was two, there was no board, and it defaulted to Jim Walter as the probate judge, so this didn't
Right.
affect the board at all.
The reason I was asking is because he was asking for time to
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
up. So I'm trying to establish how much time he's had.
He wouldn't know, it's been at least a month,
the
he
two
said 5 to
folks
6
that
weeks.
Had,
Right.
5 or 6 weeks, you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. That was it.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate you coming in. You guys just need more time, right? Yes. Okay.
And Joyce Snyder?
And Andrew, you're probably gonna have public meetings, right, in regards to this at your township trustee meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Joyce Snyder. My husband and I have been proud residents of Pittsfield Township. We moved to the rural community 17 years ago to escape the noise and busyness of the city life. Over the years, we've worked hard, along with our neighbors, to protect Pittsfield's peaceful, farm-centered character. In the past, we had to fight to keep our township farm fresh when a company proposed putting in 4 2.5-acre ponds of human waste. Now we find ourselves in a similar situation. Oberlin has begun purchasing land in Pittsfield and has already annexed some of it. They are now requesting further annexation with no clear communication on their intentions. Rumors suggest that they plan to transform this land into an industrial park or other developments that would forever alter the peaceful nature of our community. As neighbors, we would hope Oberlin would come to the table with us to discuss a vision that benefits both sides and respects the rural character of Pittsfield Township. I'm asking you, the commissioners, to delay any approval of Oberlin's annexation requested so that Pittsfield Township representatives can sit down with Oberlin to understand their intent. This would allow our trustees time to bring that information to our community, discuss it, and work with Oberlin to find a common and mutual beneficial solution that respects our community and helps them meet their needs. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming
Oh.
in.
I'm on Quarry Road.
We have her information?
Yes,
Okay.
we have her information as well.
All right, Chief.
I see John Clark has joined us. Would you prefer to speak during this public section, or would you prefer to come back when we deliberate the item?
I'd be happy to speak for a minute here if you'd allow me to.
That'd be great.
So I can say the city certainly understands.
Do we have,
John Clark, Oberlin City Law Director.
there you go.
You want my address? Which
No.
one do you want? Okay. The city is certainly cognizant of the concerns of the township. We have had some dialogue previously with the addition of Mr. Lake to the board. That has opened the door, I think, to much more constructive dialogue or opportunities for dialogue. We are scheduling a meeting with him soon, and we continue to have regular meetings to keep him and the trustees and the residents updated as to what we're doing. The city purchased a year or so ago 212 acres with the intention of annexing that land to the city for the development of a clean industrial park. This project will create jobs. It'll create revenue both for the city, the county, and the township. We do have an annexation agreement that is not relevant to this particular annexation, but that agreement was made in 2006. A lot has changed since then. We are open to having constructive dialogue with the township to take a look at that agreement and make revisions that may be appropriate. So the city is certainly eager to work with the township so that we can all benefit from this project once it's developed. I will say that because of the layout of the land that was purchased, we've had to annex this in 3 stages. This is the second or the third. We've shared that map with the township. We will, after this annexation is approved, we will be back for a third and final annexation. There's plenty of time for dialogue with the township during that process. So I would ask you not to consider a request to postpone this.
Is that-
My understanding is that there was a deadline for us to process this request, and you extended it due to our looking at it today.
Correct. I defer to your counsel. I believe that the statute requires that you take action at the first regular meeting following the filing of the petition. I don't know that it speaks, I don't know as I stand here, whether it speaks to when final action has to be taken.
I think that's correct. I also would, this is an expedited type 2, correct?
No, this is a unique type of annexation that involves annexing municipal property that's contiguous, owned by the municipality.
Right.
When it's approved by the township, it is effective, so there's no further steps
No, so you don't
under
have to do
this
anything
type of
else. Okay.
annexation.
Okay, all right.
And that approval by the township was granted?
No, this is what we're here today for. So I believe the 2 issues, the legal issues before the board is whether it is contiguous and whether it is owned by the city.
Yeah, there is no, this is one of those situations that I've said to this board a million times, that John and I have, that the reality is that the law in the state of Ohio favors incorporated areas at the expense of unincorporated areas. We struggle with this board struggles with this for the 12 years I've been here. But the law is brutal. I think John would agree with that. John and I have known each other a long time. Neither one of us look that old, but we've known each other a long time. The law is brutal, and it doesn't give you a lot of opportunity for options here. The statute is written in very direct language. You look at this and you look at that, and then you shall approve. I think that's just the way that the state of Ohio has decided to set up their law in this regard. Is that
I
fair?
agree. Yeah.
Well, there was an agreement in 2006. I had a chance to go over that, and it seemed like it was a responsible agreement between 2 parties. It had a 10-year life to it till 2016, and then for reasons unbeknownst to me and immaterial, it expired.
Well, no, it's not expired. There was a provision in the agreement that prohibited annexations in certain areas for a period of 10 years from the date of the agreement, which was 2006. That agreement is still in effect. That agreement identifies a district in which that's the subject of the agreement, that essentially says that the township will cooperate with the annexations, and in return the city will share revenue generated through that annexation. This piece of land is outside of that district, so it's not really governed by the annexation agreement, but the annexation agreement is still in effect.
Okay. Now, do you have the ability to consider an extension, as we've heard, to defer past today to allow time of some agreeable time for the township trustees and to sit down and go over the situation so they can address the concerns of their constituents?
We're certainly willing to do that. I would not favor a continuation of this annexation to do that. As I said, there's another one coming, and we're happy to engage in dialogue with the township during that process. I think that any revision to the agreement that we might make with the township is going to take a long time. It's not something that I think we can just sit down and accomplish in one meeting. So I understand the concern, and again, I reiterate, we will be in dialogue with the township, but I'm not agreeable to a long extension. If you want to continue it until the next meeting, I would be agreeable to that if that helps in any way.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
I'm sure I'll come back up on number 11.
Yes. Okay. Teresa?
Okay, is there any old business? No. Under board business, E9, approve and waive the reading in the county commissioners meeting minutes of October 22nd and 25th.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Oops.
Aye.
I guess I went number 10, not number 11, didn't I?
What?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Do you guys want to do the presentation, or you want to continue through the agenda?
Are you ready? Okay, can we get through,
I'm just saying.
can we get through 10 before we go into that? Okay. Because we've got a number of people that are here for that.
Number 10, decision on the muni annexation of 141.8426 acres from Pittsfield Township to the City of Oberlin. Attorney John Clark, agent for petitioner, City of Oberlin.
And I would defer, I would move that we defer processing this and take advantage of the,
Maybe we could talk about, if we're going to an executive session, do you
Yeah.
want to talk about it in executive session before you do that, or you want to just?
well, I believe, first of all, I'd like to recognize that City of Oberlin and represented by Mr. Clark today today is the deadline for us to take action, and it's pretty clear that the state statute requires us to approve it if the City of Oberlin is accomplished with the rest of the pieces and parts of the state statute. Having said that, if Mr. Clark is willing to postpone this to the next meeting, that would be a violation of the ordinance. It needs to be deferred by the petitioner. So if the petitioner is willing to do that, would you allow us to do that?
I have no objection to continuing this to the next meeting if you're.
Okay, it's not the 90 days that the individuals have discussed, but our next regular meeting would be Tuesday,
November 18th.
November
I mean,
18th.
I'm sorry, November 19th.
November 19th, so that gives us about 10 days. And I've often found that when you do things and you say you have 90 days to do them, somewhere around the 83rd day, they start getting done, so.
So, but again, I'm certainly agreeable to that. I'm a little uneasy with whether that's lawful,
Legal.
and I would ask you to consult your legal counsel.
Well, my understanding is you already extended your petition when there were no trustees, when there was 2 empty seats and we couldn't officially take action. I'm just asking if you're willing,
He withdrew it.
He
That was
withdrew it,
what we
so he
saw.
did.
I did request
Right.
an extension to this hearing from the last meeting, that's correct.
okay.
Well, that was still okay, well, we'll do it here. The statute, this is 70916, right? That's what you're operating under? Okay. That statute has a 30-day timeline. It appears to me to be a mandatory 30-day timeline. And if you want to keep doing this in open session, we can do this in open session. Okay. So here's the practice of law part. It has a mandatory 30-day timeline. If John is saying that he won't object, I don't know who comes in and challenges this board not operating within that mandatory 30-day timeline, but it is not clear to me that you have the authority to do that. But he would be, I doubt the township's gonna object to holding on to this for a while, and if John won't object to give you a week to talk it out, unless somebody else comes in from somewhere out of nowhere and says, we're gonna object to this, I guess you could do that, but
Well, it's
the
easier than-
language is shall act upon
Stalin-
shall act upon a petition. That's what that's
Well,
what the
all I
language
can say is Stalin's better than me voting no today. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
is. But you can't, and you also have, well,
I'm just saying, if I hear they need some time, I'm hearing you're gonna go only a week, they want 90 days. I don't like what I'm hearing, so I'm
What
not
I'm
happy with
suggest-
what I have to do today.
Mr.
What I'm
President.
suggesting was shall take action.
yeah.
I believe that the first action, the clerk can attest to this, is that she put it on the agenda.
It says shall act upon the petition. So the question is can they hold it open? And we can do this without,
I think it can be held open.
and I don't think you're gonna object to it, so I think that's an argument that you and I can have. It doesn't matter, because nobody else is gonna object to it. That's the point for the board, is it's colorable to do this, even if the language could be interpreted a different way. So, and if you're not gonna object, you're not gonna object. Sorry, go ahead.
My question, Mr. Assistant Prosecutor, is, in the legal realm of this, are we okay to move to table it today in order for them to get their time and then bring it back?
No,
He
I
has to
would not.
request- He has to request it, right?
Well, I wouldn't, I don't, well, I really hate doing this stuff in open session. I hate doing
I'm
this
sorry,
stuff
but
in
when we
open
go in
session.
executive session, it might be over an hour or two, and I don't think these people don't wait 2 hours, so.
Okay, well,
I'm
that's,
just,
I mean,
I'm just saying,
okay, I don't know that it would be legal to table it, because that is some type of action on
correct.
the petition. I think, to John's point, if you just don't take final action, it just stays open until such time as you can bring people back and talk about this next, or Tuesday after next. I think you could do that, right? That's what I
And
assume
that's
you're,
what I-
I assume you're comfortable with that, John?
That's what I would like to move to do, because what I've seen here today is neighbors that kind of had a surprise with each other have come together, and Mr. Clark, I appreciate the spirit of your concession in this regard, and although it's not what the others asked for, at least it's 10 days, and we can argue with council over the definition of what act the board must do. So having done that, I would move that we suspend action on this until the 18th.
I wouldn't even do that.
I don't do anything. It just stays open.
Just stays
Just
open.
stays open. And you move past it.
So we're not going to act on it today.
Correct.
Okay. Sometimes doing nothing is a decision all by itself.
No, not even
I wouldn't
that.
say
Don't
that either. But, I wouldn't say that either.
Lawyers.
Thank you for those that came in to participate, and thank you, Mr. Clark.
Right. Commissioner Riddell made the motion, but nothing was done, so
Yeah, so they died for lack of a second.
you say died for lack of a second.
Yeah,
Yep.
you didn't need to say that. Died for lack of a second.
Oh, the motion has died for a lack of a second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're done with item number 10.
I was waiting, I know.
If the rest of you would like to see the sausage being made, stick around, we're gonna do some more. But at this point, we're gonna move on and go back to the second presentation. Do we have the technical hookup with Steve?
I heard from the back, yes.
Yes, okay,
He's like the wizard back there.
Right?
okay. Okay. Okay, could we leave quietly, please?
We're quiet.
Brought their kids. Someone brought their kids.
Okay. So we're going to go back to the original schedule. We have a presentation this morning from our consultant for our hospitalization plan, as well as via technology participation of our actuarial consultant.
All set?
So if we could get back to order.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Brad Cogan with Minuteman HR, consultant for all of your benefit plans. Last year, just to go over that in 30 seconds, we left grandfather status. We got everybody's preventative changed from 80% to 100%. We didn't change any deductibles or co-pays or any significant plan designs outside of following along grandfather status. The good news I have, that was step one. This year, step two was to go to market and look at our vendor relationships. So we're not changing any co-pays or deductibles or co-insurances or any of that. We just went to the marketplace to look at our vendors, negotiate with them, and hold them accountable for the services that they're providing for us to make sure we do our market due diligence. So that was the step that I was involved in heavily this year. It is a very big, extensive process. So we're just putting it in a couple slides just to kind of go over what has happened and what the recommendations are. Next slide. So this is a very important slide. These numbers actually do come from your actuary who's going to speak after me. I just had to show this to show you numbers, so the stuff that I talk about does make sense. But the $47,211,000 is the projected total amount that your health, medical, RX, dental, vision plans are going to cost for the year 2025. The reason I bring this up is it's important to see that almost 44 million of that is your medical, dental, and RX claims. That's basically you go to the doctor, you get the insurance discount, Lorain County pays the claim. The reason I bring this up is because when we go to the marketplace, we're really only looking at taking this 3.2 million. We can't take your claims to the market. So we're really only taking the 3.262 million to the marketplace, and that's what you pay for your administrative services, for them to adjudicate your claims. And it also includes your stop loss, which if you're not in this industry isn't going to make a lot of sense. But your stop loss is your protection when you have very, very high claimants, meaning that Lorain County is only responsible for up to $500,000 on each employee. So if you have a very sick employee and they go way over $500,000 in claims, you as the county purchase a stop loss product where the carrier starts paying after the $500,000. It's a protection to your self-funded plan. The stop loss is usually around half of that 3.2 million, and then the other half is the administrative cost. So I just bring this up because when we go to market, we're really talking about this 3.2 million in administrative costs. Any questions?
Oh, I thought that was a good explanation.
Thank you. Next slide. So these are the products that Lorain has and needs to offer a benefit program. The first is ASO administration. That is a carrier to process your claims. You guys pay for your claims, but somebody needs to adjudicate and process the claims and send out an EOB and all of that. So that's your medical ASO administration. Stop loss, we just discussed. That covers your medical and your RX. So if someone gets on a very high cost drug, it is protected after $500,000. You also have ASO administration to adjudicate your dental claims. And then your vision is fully insured. So your vision actually encompasses your premium and your claims adjudication because it's not self-funded. Nothing to really lose sleep over. Your vision product is about 260,000 of the 47 million on every of coverage, but that's not self-funded. And then your PBM is the adjudication of claims for your RX benefits. Next slide. So on the ASO and the stop loss, we went to the main carriers. Your incumbent is Medical Mutual, Anthem, Aetna, United Healthcare. United Healthcare wouldn't quote the entire body of products, so that didn't work out well for us. Next slide, because they kind of go together. The same carriers also quoted your stop loss to adjudicate your claims and take on the risk of the over 500,000. Once again, United Healthcare didn't quote the entire package. We did a little internal negotiation between the two best carriers, and the recommendation is to stay with Medical Mutual for your self-funded administration and your stop loss for this year. So no change as far as the medical carrier and the benefits of your medical plan. Next slide. We then did the same thing for the dental. The whole dental program out of your 47 million is about $1.2 million of the whole program, so a very small piece. The medical and RX claims are obviously the biggest drivers of programs. You guys are with Delta Dental. They are the largest dental carrier, high level of service. We leveraged them a little bit with the marketplace, and the recommendation was to stay with Delta Dental and keep everything on the dental plan the same as well. Next slide. Same thing for vision. The only thing that was different with the vision product is we did look at possibly self-funding the vision product, just like your other products are self-funded. It's kind of a minor thing because it's such a low cost amount. It was kind of a cost shift where it was going to cost more premium, but then services would cost a little less. But over the big umbrella picture, it was going to cost everybody the same. So we felt it would be better. It basically was going to cost the county the same. So we felt it would be easier and better to not have a network change and just stick with the Anthem vision for the next 3 years. That's what everybody's used to. And it was essentially the exact same cost as taking that self-funded. So the recommendation there was to obviously stay with Anthem with no changes on that too. Next slide. PBM, Pharmacy Benefit Manager. This is the one area that we took to market to all these different carriers, and we were able to find a little saving, a good amount of savings by making a pharmacy change. It's important to understand that if we do make this change, and we are highly recommending this change due to the cost savings of the claims, nothing will change as far as drug co-pays, mail order, pharmacies you could go to. We're not going to block out a Walgreens or a CVS. It's basically just going to change the provider that adjudicates your RX claims, but your plan is still going to work the same way you use it today. Just on the back end, you're going to have you would have a different administrator. Like it'd be like swapping out Medical Mutual to Aetna on the medical side. And this PBM quoted us based on some of our claims from the prior years, and it looks like we can get significantly more savings through them on the actual 44 million that we talked about, not on the 3 million, due to being able to process the RX claims at lower costs. So we are recommending a change on the PBM to a company called TrueScripts. They are an employee-owned company. They are not a Wall Street company. They do not own pharmacies, and they do not own drugs. So we feel like this transparent model is the way to go moving forward. And it's also very similar to how Lorain has been since I've been here with full transparency. So your RX program will be more transparent. There will be a higher level of service. Your last vendor was owned by Rite Aid, who went bankrupt at the beginning of this year. So your current PBM was actually just sold off to, we've been with a new group for 8 months who nobody here, anybody really knew due to the sale. So we also felt this would be a good time to make this change because the market did respond well on swapping out the PBM. So next slide. So I went through these one by one, but these were the recommendations, is to keep everything the same, no benefit plan design changes, no copay changes, no mail order, go to the pharmacy changes, but to keep everything with the same vendors outside of the PBM to be able to reap the benefits of the savings on the back end of the claims from the analyses that we've gone over. So that was my piece for this year. A little less moving parts, which is good. And then the next part is I can defer over to Steve Parsons, who is your group's actuary. Steve is the one who helps figure out the numbers with the carriers that the program's going to cost us $47 million. And he also works with Casey and his team based on your guys' fund and managing your healthcare fund to make sure that it also has enough dollars for future years. Any questions on my end?
No. From the board? No? I would like to reinforce what Brad said, though, that this, when we went to market this year, we did not change anything as to the operation of the plan. It was strictly, we made changes last year, and we weren't gonna go ahead and change them again a second year. So we went to market with exactly what the coverage was that we had in 2024. We were just looking for competitive bidding on the established package, so.
And the other thing I will say, because there was a lot of fear last year, because I just want to bring it back up, is getting out of grandfather status was a big step for us. First of all, to get everybody the 100% preventative, but it does allow you to tweak easier if like the cardiac rehab pops up, like what happened last year. But we really have, from discussions I've had in my 4 years here and hopefully forward, we really don't have any plans to be changing deductibles or changing co-pays or making major changes to the plan. We just want to try to manage the plan properly to keep the costs down so it can keep everybody's premiums down. That's really the goal here. But getting out of grandfather status gives us a little maneuverability if events like that do arise.
Thank you, Brad. Do we have Steve on hand?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the tables that we're going to go through are the same tables that I've shared in the prior, probably 10 years. So I try to provide consistency from year to year. This table basically says on table A is, first item there is that you're appropriately reserved for minimum reserve requirement per Ohio Revised Code 9.833. So you satisfy that as the end of the last fiscal year. That's the minimum reserve. We'll talk about the targeted reserve on the very last slide. And then we have additional tables that provide details specifically to large claims on table B, and then providing a history of the trust over the last 10 plus years is on table C. But to get to the rate projection for 2025, the bad news is, if you recall last year, our actuarial projections were forecasting 17.5% increase effective 1/1 of 24. And there, the county chose to take a step towards that by increasing them 7.9% increase, and there was some hope that the actuary would be wrong, and actuaries will be wrong. So that there is certainly there'll be swings in costs from year to year, but there was some hope that there could be what claims we were seeing in 2023 and 22 were just a spike from COVID. The bad news is that was not the case. The actual projections for 2024 were pretty spot on. We're tracking towards that 17.5% increase, and given that we only took an 7.9% increase, if we did nothing and we did not change PBM, the actuary forecast would be the 19.3%, which is on the bottom on the footnotes. Given the proposed change in PBMs, which I fully support, I've seen the impact that such changes could have. The good news then, it becomes the actual forecast is at 8.7% increase, assuming that the commissioners adopt the new PBM for the prescription drug side. Just prescription drugs alone, that is tracking above the projection from last year. And we're tracking towards over $13 million spend on just prescription drugs. Very consistent with what I've seen with others. This PBM change would take that down to roughly 9 million, so it's a fairly significant impact. So I'm going to pause and see if you have any questions.
Questions? No? Go ahead.
Okay. So if we go to the next slide, I'll just step through the next 3 slides so you have some context. The next slide is the slide that shows us, the progression of large claims. I think it's important to show this because clearly we know we have mega claims that are over $500,000 in which a medical mutual and their stop loss will pay for any claims where an individual goes over 500,000. But what's really important in this slide is what I'll call the little big claims. Those are the claims between 100,000 and 499,000. And you can see over time that has grown, and that's why I call them little big claims. Those are the claims that are not going to be covered by stop loss, but just the number of those claims over time has continued to increase. I first saw this in the city of Columbus, and it's something that it's a clear pattern, not unusual to Lorain County. Just the number of larger claims continues to accelerate. But fortunately, at the end of the story is you've been maintaining reserves. While we drew those reserves down in 2024 fairly significantly, we still have, we're not in panic mode, and we will adhere to our funding policy that we adopted last year. If we go to the next slide. So this slide is a little busy, but it gives you many years of history, so you can see how claims have grown for medical, even after stop loss. They had been only 13 million back in 2009, and they're now grown to be over 30 million. Prescription drugs accelerated from a little under 6 million to, if we did nothing, to 13 million forecast coming up. What's in the yellow is what I referred to before. That yellow basically says we're spot on the actual projection. We're lower, actual claims for medical are actually lower by $1 million, but the prescription drugs are over $1 million. They net out to be a wash. So that was the bad news segment of my first table. Is we did nothing, we'd be looking at nearly a 20% increase to keep this solvent and not deficit spend. There's no questions on this slide. I'll go ahead and go to table the next slide. So this I will not go in great detail, but this provides anybody who wants to pick this, look at how we forecasted. This provides all the detail on how we forecasted the costs for the upcoming year, and it's very consistent with the format that we've used in prior years. For my actuarial standards that I have to adhere to, I have to be able to provide documentation like these 5 tables, so anybody could pick this up, another actuary could pick this up and go through the process and audit what I've done, agree or disagree with it. So that's one of the best parts of the actual profession is we have to adhere to fairly strict actuarial standards, and this is one of them. Provide all the documentation, so anybody can pick this up and walk through what produced the forecast for the upcoming year, which is in this case 8.7%. And you'll see in the yellow in the middle, that's where we are forecasting the roughly $4.6 million of savings. That number is directly taken from the PBM's analysis for the upcoming year. So the PBM that was selected, they had all your claims and they walked through, had they been adjudicating your claims, this is what it would most likely look like. And a large piece of this is just gaining additional rebates that you weren't achieving before. If anybody knows me, I'm always cautious in telling folks don't chase rebates because rebates come from high cost claims. But you want to get the rebates that are available, and by going to this more transparent PBM, we're going to achieve greater savings on those rebates. The next slide. So this slide is an important one because last year the commissioners adopted a formal funding and reserve policy. The funding policy says we're going to set our premiums so we don't deficit spend. We're going to make sure that our premiums are always our premiums. We took a baby step towards that last year with the 7.9% because we wanted to make sure, given we had healthy reserves, that we weren't overreacting to the forecast, which has been validated. The good news is while we've drawn down the assets at the very bottom of the first column there, they could be a little under 17 million at the end of this year. But if you adopt these 8.7% increase, we will have, we will not draw down the reserves by doing deficit spending. That's why we are recommending the 8.7%. And the rest of the columns, the important aspect of the funding and reserve policy is we're not going to look at a current snapshot this year. We're going to look at what costs are projected to be out 5 years. So we do use some assumptions, and basically what this says is we're assuming over the next 5 years our costs will increase roughly 6.5% a year. And so we would plan for those increases. So if you were to use my crystal ball this year for 1/1 of 26, we'd be looking at 6.5% increase to 7%. And then the important part of this exhibit says, okay, then our assets would continue to be around a little under 17 million. Do we meet our funding policy, or reserve policy, excuse me? And the reserve policy said we are going to target having reserves of 30%. So if our expenses, I'm just going to use really crude round numbers, are 100 million, we want to have 30 million. In this case, our projected expenses in year 5 are 61 million. So we want to have roughly, it would be more in line with 18%. But you'll see that it's saying 28%. Furthermore, our policy says we're not going to overreact one way or the other, so it gives us a 5% cushion. Had this forecast said it was going to be 24%, then our 8.7% increase would have to be higher because we want to get the reserves to be at 30%. So we've given ourselves a 5% corridor. So anytime that the forecast is below 25%, then the commissioners would choose to have discussion on would it be appropriate to increase, in this case, 8.7% to a higher percentage to help maintain the reserves long term. What this table is saying is you're within that 5%. I'm comfortable that the 8.7% is appropriate for now. We want to see how things flush out with the new PVM. Next year we have an opportunity to do this whole exercise again, set the premiums, and then if we are under 25%, then we'll have a different discussion. If we have a very good year, the opposite occurs. If the forecast is then over 35%, then we could choose to do a funding holiday to bring the reserves down so we don't maintain excessive reserves, if you will. So it's a time-tested policy. I've had it in with a group of schools in Lorain County that purchase healthcare together, and it's my best analogy is like driving with your foot on the gas and the brake. It helps takes out the emotion and the politics on what occurred 3 years ago where you had no increase for 3 years. Now you have a policy that says this is why we're doing it. I'm going to pause. I said quite a bit there.
Okay, Steve and Brad, I don't know if you want to take the microphone in case part of this ends up in your wheelhouse.
Sure.
But again, a year ago, we looked at several things and we had some input, and there was an expectation by some, and it was a hope. The same thing was a hope by others that our claims would reduce post-COVID. That perhaps what we had was a backlog of claims. And so when you see the claims history and it went over 30 million from from the mid-20s, that would somehow reverse because there was a backlog that would disappear and then we get back to normal. And as you can see, that hasn't happened. So we continue to wrestle with the fact that that the issue is this is the insurance, this is the policy that we've chosen to pay, the benefits that we've chosen to pay. It's being well utilized, which is good for the health of our employees. However, it's expensive, and the self-funding piece means that we don't have insurance for this. It's not a matter of the insurance company controlling costs. You know, that would have to come from us. But we have to go on, whether it was inflation, maybe we had less claims, but we had higher cost per claim because of the inflation of medical care. But whatever the reason is, our goal has to be dollars, and we have to make sure that we fund a reserve, because you can see from the upward trend of claims over 500,000, the second thing that's in effect is that we are an aging employee group, like many in Lorain County, public and private. And so as a result, you know, as we get older, we tend to use the hospitalization more often, and we tend to use it becomes more expensive. So we have to deal with those traits. And at this point, are there any other questions from the board? Okay. I think that we'll take the increase, the recommendation under advisement. I believe, Mr. Armbruster, you've scheduled some meetings next week for the appropriate people. Do you want to make your announcement of that?
Excuse me. It's on now.
Yes.
Yes, we've sent a letter out for next week. Brad and Steve are going to be with us to make presentations, I believe at 11 and 1:30. And I believe it's on Wednesday, Friday, November 15th. And that presentation will be to the employees and to the elected officials.
Those that participate.
Correct. And we will also have the ability, if you want to, I believe we talked about it, calling in, that they'll be able to see it, the presentation. They're going to be able to dial in.
Yeah, I think it's a Zoom presentation.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to, this is more Steve's, but he's not here, so I just want to make sure everybody realizes this on his actuary. So if we keep the PBM with Med Impact where it is, he's recommending a 19.3% increase. If we vote to change the PBM, which I haven't been given direction yet to change, and that's a process to change, then we're back at that 8.7. I just wanted everyone to make sure we have that correct.
Right. But our goal this time is to see to it that the information that we're getting today, we pre-scheduled some meetings for next week because we knew we were going to get this information today. And we were kind of under a time constraint last year. This year, we will take action after the employees have had a chance to weigh in and get comfort and ask questions. Then the board will deliberate. And our goal is to take action, hopefully, on the 19th, which doesn't give us a big window, but it helps us to get the open enrollment so people can get there, make their decision on what kind of coverage they want to buy, if anything, and move on and get ready for January the 1st. So.
And I'll also, all the bargaining unit reps were invited to come to either 11 or 1:30 in the afternoon next week.
But I thank you, Brad and Steve both, and as you can see, we followed the process. We followed the Ohio Revised Code on the reserve, and the mathematics, is what it is. So we do have a decision to make on the PBM.
Yeah, pharmacy benefit manager.
Okay, on the PBM, and obviously it has a drastic effect on the premium. Not to recognize also that maintaining the fund is a little more difficult because of the 3 years that we had 0, 0, 0. So at the end of the day, there was probably a good reason for that at the time, but that affects our ability because those dollars are not available for us to spend today.
I do want to reiterate one more time too on the PBM, just so this doesn't get lost between now and next Friday. The PBN recommendation is a vendor change. It's changing from MedImpact to TrueScripts. It's not a copay change. It's not a benefit change. And sometimes there's some confusion around here. So it's the back end vendor change, not the specific benefit change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to add, Jeff? Nope. Teresa, move on to 11.
Okay, I think, is he off now? I think he's still on there.
See you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Nope.
Steve's napping. Steve went to sleep or something.
Okay.
He's somewhere in the Toledo area.
All right, number 11, retaining the law firm of Fisher Bareilles, attorney Suzanne Kleinsmith, Sagunish, for the establishment of the proposed regional sewer district pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 6119.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. Administrator, this was the 52,000 and some passed last time, right? I'd asked Karen about it. You said it was for this law firm.
This is a different one, and the services that are going to be presented here are totally different than what McMahon is doing.
McMahon, the McMahon DeGullis is the consultant that the board hired. He's a lawyer, but he's a consultant that the board's hired to manage the 6119 project overall. This retention is for someone who specializes in real estate, public utilities, and effectively commercial and public utilities, real estate transactional law. Because my understanding is McMahon DeGullis thinks that type of specialized representation on behalf of the county, as opposed on behalf of the 6119 project, is necessary for the phase that they are at in the 6119 process. Does that make sense?
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if that was clear. It made me more confused, so if it clarified it for you, I'm hopeful.
And
I just didn't want people to think we were paying twice, because
No,
we
no.
did that 52,000 a couple weeks
And-
ago.
And Jeff, could you explain the timeline so that, people know where we're at in the process? This is just a pre-selection of someone. We're telling them we select them if and when we need them.
That is correct.
No, it's not. We're retaining this person. This is, when you retain outside counsel, we do it, and we do it per this particular statute. You do it by the board passing a resolution saying that we want to retain someone to do this project, and then my office will sign off. In the past, we have, I assume Tony would agree with this, that either we have a conflict or we have, this is a specialized area of the law, right? And then we take it to yours. We've done that before. This step here is not just telling them they're advised, it's saying we want to retain this person. And I want to make sure that's clear, because that's what develops the attorney-client relationship between the board and this lawyer, which was the issue with DeGullis doing it, because he's really working on behalf of this 6119 entity at some point. And this piece is going to be transactional work the county is doing for its participation in the 6119 process, okay? Right. But let's be clear, you're voting to retain this person, and then you'll do that, we'll do the application, and then yours will sign off on it, and it'll go from there.
Okay.
That is correct.
But I guess the important part is, for those that are following the 6119, is there's still a lot of process to go forward.
There's no question about it. We meet every week. The process is not slow, but there's a lot of detail that we've got to put into it for the presentation to the Common Pleas Court. We're still on task, as we see it, to make that presentation sometime in January. But you've got still the public meetings to take place. You've got this piece of it from the real estate or the asset transfers, and not transfers, but the asset evaluations and all that, that all parties are working on. And that's bringing this law firm in is going to help us tremendously in that side of it on the county side. Avon Lake, who is the other piece of it, is got Tony Cloyne on his side, so we need somebody on our side as an evaluator too.
Thank you. Teresa?
Is there
Mr.
anything
President?
further?
Oh.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I got a couple calls on this one last night. And people were asking certain specific questions. I think the resolution is written in such a way where it is very specific to its purpose. That's my statement on that.
Okay.
Anything
I
else?
don't know, what, did Dan write it? No, but I think it's
Nope.
very
Jacob
specific.
Fuller wrote it.
I think, pardon?
Assistant.
Jacob
did,
Fuller is the
yeah,
one that's
yeah.
been, to the limited amount that my office is involved in the 6119, Jacob Fuller's been doing it. And he's good. He's hopefully he's learned a lot in this process, and he'll be an asset for a long time going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's specific, it's specific and narrowed down to the task that we want done.
Yeah, I would.
The board wants done.
Yeah, I would have written it differently, but I get your point.
Yeah.
He would have.
I would have made it more complicated for Teresa. Yeah.
And I would say no. Anything further?
No.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Under Job and Family, 12, authorized purchase service agreement with the Educational Service Center of Lorain County, Elaria, in the amount not to exceed $750,000 for social workers at Lorain County Schools for services to low-income children. This is effective retroactive to October 1st of '24 through September 30th of '25 and will be paid from the TANF account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 13, amend Resolution 24-616, adopted October 8th of '24, authorizing a sub-grant agreement between Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lorain County in Lorain, in the amount of $350,000 for mentoring and tutoring for low-income children. Said amendment is to reflect an increase of $30,000 for a new total of $380,000 to cover transportation costs and will be paid from the TANF account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
14, amend Resolution 23-734, adopted October 17th of 2023, authorizing a sub-grant agreement between Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services and Lorain County Safe Harbor, Lorain, in the amount of $230,000 for protective services for adults. This amendment is to reflect an increase of $393,000 for a new total of $905,500 to cover costs for the final months of the contract ending September 30th of '24, and this will be paid from the TANF Title 20 Social Service Block Grant Funds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
15, amend Resolution 23-735, adopted October 17th of '23, authorizing a sub-grant agreement between Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services and Neighborhood Alliance Lorain in the amount of $230,000 for the protective services for adults. This amendment is to reflect a $65,000 increase for a new total of $295,000 to cover the cost for the final months of the contract ending September 30th of '24 and will be paid from the Title 20 Social Service Block Grant Funds.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Solid Waste, 16, enter in contract with ERG Environmental Services of Bowling Green, Ohio, for the bulb and ballast services for the collection center. 2 bids were received, this being the most responsive complying with specifications, and this is effective January 1st of 2025 to December 31st of 2027, with 2 one-year renewals, and will be paid from the Solid Waste Commissioner's Health Contractual Purchase Service Solid Waste account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
17, enter in contract with Powerhouse Recycling, Inc. of Salisbury, North Carolina for electronic waste, e-waste services for the collection center. 4 bids received, this being the most responsive complying with specification, and this is effective January 1st of '25 through December 31st of '27, with 2 one-year renewals, and will be paid out of the Solid Waste Commissioner's Health Contractual Purchase Solid Waste account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 18, enter in contract with ERG Environmental Services of Bowling Green, Ohio for household hazardous waste services for the collection center. 3 bids received, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and is effective January 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2027, with 2-year renewals, and will be paid from the Solid Waste Commissioner's Health Contractual Purchase Service Solid Waste account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
19, enter in a contract with Willing Tire Recycling LLC of Galion, Ohio for scrap tire services for the collection center. 3 bids received, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and is effective January 1st of 25 through December 31st of 27, with 2 1-year renewals, and will be paid from the Solid Waste Commissioner's Health Contractual Purchase Service Solid Waste account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Under Workforce Development Agency, 20, extend the interagency agreement between Lorain County Workforce Development Agency and Lorain County Port Authority for work experience payments to participants. Lorain County Port Authority will serve as the employer of record for participants, and Workforce Development will reimburse the Port Authority for payments made to the TANF Summer Employment Program, CCMEP, and Traditional Jobs Participant for wages paid and all other payroll-related expenses, in addition to a 5% administrative fee, and the total amount not to exceed $1.2 million. This is effective retroactive to July 1st, 24 through June 30th, 25, and will be paid from the CCMEP TANF account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Excuse me. Under the engineer, 21, authorized payment in the amount of $53,281.50 to Columbia Township in accordance with the cooperation agreement for the reconstruction of Root Road from Sprague to Station Roads in Columbia and Eden Township. This will be paid from the engineer project account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
Under the prosecutor, 22, authorized acceptance of the VOGA and SCAA grant in the amount of $108,253.18, effective retroactive to October 1st of 24 through September 30th of 25, for the Victim Witness Program administered through the prosecutor's office. This grant is from the Ohio Attorney General's office and requires a 20% match. This grant is to pay partial salaries of 6 full-time victim advocates, and the local match of $27,061.21 is needed for the Commissioner's General Fund allocation account.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Under the Sheriff, 23, authorized Sheriff to apply for the Justice Assistant JAG in the amount of $40,493 to purchase ballistics shields for the Law Enforcement Division and enter in a disparate allocation to include the city of Elyria and Lorain in Lorain County. The amounts will be split between the jurisdictions. Lorain City will receive Lorain City will receive $13,498, as well as City of Elyria $13,498, and Lorain County will receive $13,497.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddle?
Aye.
24, grant sole ownership of K-9 Alley to Correction Officer Glenn Mead, who has been serving with Lorain County Sheriff's Office since 2013 and will be retired effective November 6, 2024 due to age. Deputy Mead has signed a release of claims and will pay $1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I wish they
Happy
would have.
retirement.
Yeah, I wish they would have sent along a picture for us.
That would have been nice.
Maybe
Well-
if they could send it on to Chris Kish, she can get it up on the website.
I'm glad to see this is an amicable resolution to the situation. There's been a lot on TV about a similar situation that's not going well in Cleveland.
Oh,
so.
really?
But this looks like it looked like Ally and Glen Mead and the county are all gonna be good in this deal.
Yeah, and I think we had one of these in the past 4 years too, so it's probably 2 of these so far.
So,
Yeah. Good.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddle?
aye.
We had this happen when the prosecutor's office changed over, the victim's
Oh, yeah.
advocate
Yeah, yeah.
at the time kept the dog who was the She left when Dennis left, and then the new person came in, so we did do that there, but that's cool when it works out.
Under Veterans, 25, authorize increase the Lower Met Visa credit card issued to Lorain County Veteran Services Director Jacob Smith from $5,000 to $7,500 in accordance with the permissible policy and the Ohio Revised Code 301.27.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
County Administrator.
Do you have anything left?
He's got his voice back, though.
Karen's ready. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Karen grabbed that.
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioners. So for my update this morning, a couple of items. First of all, just to give an update on the airport master plan. As you all know, we are updating the master plan at the airport. Our consultants, Crawford, Murphy and Tilly, met with all the tenants and stakeholders at the airport last week. They had scheduled meetings for regular daytime and also evening in order to get everybody's comments on their vision for the future of the airport. The master plan does take a substantial amount of time to complete. The original schedule is 18 months, which pushes us to have a completed, updated master plan by January of 2026. Also, we met with the FAA Airport District Office this past week. Every year we get to sit down with our ADO folks and go over the airport's capital improvement plan and any major improvement projects at the airport. Since we are in the middle of doing a master plan, it's a little bit more difficult to plan on spending construction dollars at the airport. So we did take a look at some of our equipment, and we have a rather large snow removal equipment, the old Oshkosh, that is basically obsolete. So we are going to be looking towards the FAA to send us some funds to replace that machine in the future. Also, I had a very unexpected meeting. Lorain County Transit was invited to a Zoom meeting with the Joint Vocational School. The school reached out to us after attending some of the strategic planning sessions, and they had a specific ask with regards to transportation. They have a new program that they're promoting. It's called Career Z Challenge, and this is a program where they're going to initiate more work-based learning experience for their students at the JVS. And what they're finding is one of the major challenges is transportation for students to get from either their home or their school to a place of business where they could work. So Pam and I, and also Mr. Greenspan, we did agree to go back and check and see if we could find any grants that would be available that might be able to help us with some transit solutions to a very real problem. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
So I would like to bring the commissioners up to date with regards to the law enforcement dispatch agreements that we've been working on for the past year practically, along with the standard SOPs, the standard operating procedures, which have been completed at this point. We dispatch at 911 to law enforcement through 8 departments. Sheffield Lake, City of Lorain, North Ridgeville, Sheriff's Department, Metro Parks, Village of Grafton, Village of LaGrange, Village of South Amherst, and the Village of Kipton. Up until this date, we really hadn't had a dispatch agreement that they had signed and agreed to the fact that 911 was going to dispatch. We've always dispatched fire services, but not necessarily the police departments. So what we have put together is Lorain County 911 Dispatch Centralized Dispatch and Emergency Services Agreement. To this date, what we've done is sent it out to the mayors to get a look at what we're going to do, and it takes care of the standard operating procedures as to how we're going to dispatch at 911 so it's standardized throughout all the communities and not specific to just Kipton or specific just to North Ridgeville. It's kind of hard for our dispatchers to learn one language, English, rather than, and I don't mean that in that sense, but when you have to learn 8 different languages from the police departments as they're calling out to the cars. So we're going to be, where we are here is it's going to be quite clear in this agreement as to how 911 is going to dispatch to all the departments as collectively in the same way. So we've sent the letters out. Director Berner is going to be in touch, and we will, administration if necessary, we will be in touch with those, not only chiefs, but the mayors, to make sure that we can get these agreements signed with the idea that this would be in place. The agreements would be signed and be in place January 1st of 2025. A little bit of a sad note. Barb Tamas informed us that one of her supervisors of 31 years, Joyce Robertson, passed away the other day, October 28th, actually in her sleep. And it was totally unexpected through the process. But she gave, we want to wish the condolences of the administration of this commission, then the family and friends that are out there, that Joyce was 31 years at JFS. She did a great job, and we're going to miss her, sorely miss her. And finally, the county buildings will be closed this coming Monday for the observance of Veterans Day. So if you're coming to the county offices or over at the court system, those offices will be closed, observance of Veterans Day. That completes my report.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Okay.
I have nothing, board correspondence.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I will move to waive the reading of the board correspondence.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Hahn?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
New business?
None?
No? Okay, public comment.
Public comment. Brian Baker. Thank you for moving up front.
Oh.
Halfway anyway.
Halfway.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian
morning.
Baker, 49822 Greystone Drive, Amherst, Ohio. I come forward today just to publicly acknowledge, we went through an election cycle here. I don't think people realize the amount of time that you put in with these. As I talked to Dave on Tuesday night, I congratulated him, and I congratulate him again. But I did tell him I was going to stay engaged. And that being engaged, I have a couple points I'd like to make. On October 25th, Jeff, me, you, and Mr. Petticourt had a conversation about the budget process. So I pulled up the revised code. I think Mr. Petticourt agrees with me that 5705.30 is the process that has to be used. And I'd ask you to at least, I'll give this to the clerk so that you know, there's a whole piece in here about the open meeting process. I think that the public should know what the sausage making is before it's voted on, and here's the process of how you have to do it. So I'll give this to the clerk, that she can put that there. Mr. Petticourt, I think your statement in the Chronicle did say that, so I'd ask you to advise your client to make sure they follow this. My last one, this is to you, Dave. If you have something that's about, I think it's make affordable groceries again. If you have a committee with that, I'd like to sit on it, because we laugh about that, but that's a very important issue in this county. And I think that we should really think about what we have to do. You guys know I've come here about the food banks and everything. So we talk about it as a joke, but it's not a joke.
Well, it's not a
So
joke.
I'm serious about it. You made it in your campaign piece. Let's do something about
Yep.
it. With
We
that,
are.
I say thank you very much, Mr. Petticourt. I know you ran the same campaign as I did, so with this, I'd like to give Teresa this so that she can have it for you, Mr. Riddell, and I'd hope you would follow it, because, and Mr. Armbruster, you're the county administrator, you know that this has to happen too, so I'd hope that we make sure that we follow the rules. We haven't done it in 2.5 years. We should make sure that we do it this year. With that, thank you again for your time.
Thank you for your comment, and respectfully, when I get done, I think I'll still discontinue that, or disagree that we haven't done it for 2 years, but thank you.
Yep.
That was it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Motion to adjourn into.
No.
Would you want to go into executive session?
Yes,
We got motion to go into executive session.
that's what I'm saying. Motion
Well, we
to.
all jumped on
You
it.
don't
Oh.
adjourn.
Not adjourned.
Okay.
You don't adjourn.
We're not adjourning.
I'm
We're
okay
going
with
into
adjournment.
executive
I'm
session.
sitting going, we've been here longer than we have all year, so.
I look at we're adjourning the public meeting to go into private meeting.
No, no.
Based on, no.
But anyway, pick the language you want, or make the motion.
Make a motion to.
I would suggest that we go, that the board go into executive session to discuss matters that are required to be kept confidential by law. And I believe, is there personnel to discuss in this meeting?
Yes, and
Okay.
legal.
Then the reasons stated by the clerk,
Yep.
as well as if the board chooses, I can update the board on at least one piece of current litigation
Very good.
or potential litigation.
Even the ones we won.
Well, one piece of potential litigation based on a
Okay.
phone call I had this morning.
You.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we're
So
going-
moved.
Oh, we gotta make a motion, don't we?
I just did.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
All right.
Commissioner Moore.
All right.
Commissioner Hunt.
Yes.
We got an hour and a-
Commissioners have reconvened from executive session.
We have a personnel summary sheet.
It's, Todd, can this thing pick up the personal summary sheet on the display?
There we
you
go.
go.
There we go.
Hey, it's already signed. How about that? I move to approve the personnel summary sheet.
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
There being no additional bids, we are adjourned.
It's a good day.
Now you're off on your drop dead, stop dead time.